59,94. So that was our third final 400 before we start here in just a few moments with our first competitive sled. Keisha Love from the United States of America with the first competitive sled. Now we're looking for Stu Anderson. You're down in the hall.
Yes, hold from the heart. We're not inside. We've actually wandered out because we are just seconds away from Keisha Love being the first athlete down in heat number 3 of women's monobob. We're at the top of 7, just in the back of the, or 17, just in the back of the first rotate. They'll come down the chicane, around this big curve. We've got people streaming in from downstairs in the base lodge. They've got drinks in their hands. They're happy. They're ready to start cheering for all 32 nations that are in today's competition. And we've got bands that are going to be playing. We've got food and hospitality to be had. But we'll send it back up to Bree and Carl in the announcer's booth for our live third heat of the 2025 Women's Bob World Championships in Lake Placid.
Thanks, Stu, and enjoy the show, because it's going to be a show with 21 sleds in the field. Unfortunately, just one sled will be cut for that fourth and final run. All 4 runs count, measured to the 100th of a second. Should be some phenomenal racing.
Welcome back to Lake Placid in New York for the second day of action in the women's monobob competition. Our athletes ready to go for the third and then final deciding heat. 21 sleds in the contest, and the tricky Lake Placid track faces them. And in these monobob sleds, even getting down in one piece is not the work of a moment. Martin Haven's delighted to welcome back the slightly breathless Riley T. Jack. She has just come down in a sled as the first forerunner. So in our top three, Lara Nolte, two-time world champion, lies in third place.
She knows how to win, Martin. She in monobob has been so successful, but out of our top six, she has the least amount of experience on this track. She knows how to win, but not on this track. Can she pull that together based off her experience?
Going to be really interesting, isn't it? She'll go off behind Katie Bile, perhaps the surprise of the competition. The Austrian, we know, is a really good driver, but she's put in some phenomenal starts as well, and that has vaulted her into the medals.
Yeah, she is crushing it. I talked to her right after the race yesterday. She could hardly believe it.
I know. Keisha Love, well, perhaps a little more expected, but she's the least experienced driver of the American trio. And the other two, Alana Myers-Taylor, Olympic silver medalist, Kaylee Humphries, Olympic gold medalist in monobob. I mean, really, she's absolutely slaying this.
And she has been all in training as well. She feels good. She knows that she can do this, and I'm really excited to see what she's about to lay down here.
It's going to be phenomenal, isn't it? But look at the margin first to second. 0.02 of a second, effectively overnight dead heat. Let's make no bones about it. Then Lara Nolte in third place, challenging for medals. So to Alana Myers-Taylor, so to Cynthia Pierce, so to Kristen Bugnovsky, who dropped from second down to sixth place after the first heat. What about Lisa Buchwitz? What about Bree Walker? Kaylee? I mean, there's so many women who had one really good run and one not so great one. And again, day two, if you can tidy up your act, and we just saw the men's two-man goal decided by 0.03 of a second over 4 runs. Not even 1/100th a run between the top two. So this could be equally as exciting, and there are a lot of really close battles.
Well, and we also saw the track record be broken.
Yeah. Track records broken twice in the first heat of the men's competition. Now, snow's coming in, so track might be a little slower. And you saw Alana in the background and Katie Bile in the foreground. There's, well, somebody who's got thinking to, Andrea Greco. I'm sure she's disappointed to be as far down as she is, only 11th place. But, you know, day two, clear the slate, put yesterday behind you, crack on, let's see if we can't get 2 good runs. And a lot of that happened in the men's race. And
it will. But real quick, what you just saw was those athletes warming up. And you just said it's snowing. Those athletes are warming up as it's snowing on concrete, uneven roads, as snow is just coming down. This is a blue-collar sport, people, for anyone watching it at home. Yeah, it's a parking lot, you know, and that's the way it is. And it's the same at every track as well, apart from the last couple of Olympics that have got an indoor warm-up track. Okay, so the third heat of our Women's Monobob World Championships in Lake Placid. We go from first down to last. The fastest athlete goes off, and then everybody follows in suit. And so it is Keisha Love. 2 good starts. The second a little bit off her best, a 5.89, but a 5.82 first start. Let's see what she's got for us today. 5.77. She is starting off the day hot, and she is ready to claim this. Little tap there out of 1/100th of her own start record of 5.76 from last year's World Cup race in March. She is feeling it. But I will tell you, not only is she my best friend, but a great teammate of mine. And she has battled some injuries and some tough times this season, but she is coming back and doing it all when it matters. Well, she was a winner in Lillehammer in Norway just about a month ago. She won last year in France as well, both real drivers' tracks. So that's, you know, she learned here. That's why she's such a good steerer of a bobsled. She has the skill, she has the speed, and it's just, can she be consistent for these 4 runs? 59.50, 59.49, 1/100th apart her 2 runs yesterday. Let's see what she's got for us today. Is she going to extend her advantage? 59.49, 3 runs within 100th of a second of each other. Talk about consistency. That's what we want to see. Can she put down 3 good runs, all keeping it close, minimizing mistakes, and she pushed faster. Whoa. And different conditions for all 3 runs, and yet. Look at her giving hugs to the crowd. Her boyfriend Hunter was competing earlier this morning, wanted me to shout out that she has a very handsome boyfriend. Well, he really pulled out the big pushes with Chris Horn. He did.
down through the chicane, little tap right to left. That takes away a 10th, maybe 1500ths, but nevertheless, a really nice looking run. She's clearly woken up, ready to go and get that gold.
She has one more left to do it. I think she's pretty happy with that performance, and it's going to be tough to beat right now.
Well, 2 nights ago was Schnitzel night. Katie Bile cooked for all the Austrian teams and loads of hangers-on. And I said to her, you've got to have Schnitzel again tonight. She said, oh, we've got some left.
So she's been eating it every day.
Yeah, there you go. Look, 4 fastest in the first heat, the fastest trip down in the second heat, and her starts as well. A 94 and an 89, tied with Keisha in the second heat. Now, if she can do again,
590.
All right, that's 1,300 slower than Keisha, but that is a good, solid start
for her.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. It's not about you versus the other athletes. Can you maximize your potential when it matters?
Little kick off 3. Yeah, that's going to take more speed out of the sled. So from 200s behind, 2100s back. Most of that is start velocity. She now needs to really drive 2 beautiful runs to grab a medal.
Rest of the track looks pretty good so far. Really nice, clean out of 10. Nice off of 12. She is driving this track very, very well.
Oh, double tap through the chicane. Yeah, it wasn't the worst skid, but those double taps just take energy out of the sled. So she's going to drop back behind Keisha. And this could give Keisha Love a really big breathing space and open the door for others.
From 200s to almost 4/10 of a lead.
That's not the run she needed in the third heat. She's going to have to really dig in for the fourth run, and you can see how much the weather is changing.
It is snowy, and most of this track is covered, but some of that snow will creep in, so it is a lead for these top girls to be going off first. Here was that first critical mistake that she made here. Again, wasn't a double bunk hit. It's going to result in her hitting the other side. Not what she wants out of here. And in the chicane, if you can be perfect, you're saving at least a 10th.
Yeah. It just really helps you build your speed down into the heart, and that dragged out of her a little bit of that velocity. There's 17. And actually, if you could see through the snow, great view of the driver's hands working.
Same reaction almost every time out of her. But one more run, Caddy. You can do it. You're still in striking distance.
She still is. Now then, Lauren Alter, our 2-time defending world champion. World Championships 2023, gold in St. Moritz, 24 gold in Winterberg, going for the 3-peat.
She is one heck of an athlete, and she knows how to drive these mono bobsleds. 588 start puts her exactly what she did yesterday in one of her heats. She will be pretty pleased with that, being pretty close to Keisha there.
Quarter of a second back from Keisha Love overnight, but more trouble.
She was struggling there in training. That 2 to 3 is so crucial at the top of the track, and you can see now making that gap even wider.
Youth Olympic champion 2016, Olympic bobsleigh champion 2022, and a 2-time monobob world champion.
I think her resume is 5 pages long with all her medals if we had to tally it. And I know she told me here that her family traveled all the way from Germany to be here, which is incredible.
Well, closing in on second place. Katie Biles, 3,900s back at the bottom. She's 4/10s back. If she finds speed here, she overhauls Katie Bile to move up into second place.
I think she's going to do it, Martin.
This is a challenge for the lead. 1,700s back. She's quicker than Keisha by 800s.
Fastest downtime so far that we've seen. Wow, with a slower start. That's incredible. She has to be very happy with that run and that critical mistake at the top of the track, and she still had the fastest downtime.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And it's not an equipment advantage. They all use the same sled.
Here's that mistake here coming up and just double tapping and pushing her in a little bit early there. Even that little tap there will scrub speed. It's how fast can you go down this track with creating the least amount of friction from driving, but not overdriving or underdriving where you're hitting these ice walls that just take and suck speed out of the sled.
All right, 1 to go. 1,700s in it.
One more, let's go.
Lauren Alter looking for a 3rd gold in the Worlds. All right, Alana Myers-Taylor next. 4th fastest start in both heats, 4th fastest run in both heats. She has been so consistent.
She is an incredible athlete, the GOAT of bobsled, I will say, with her tons of records from the Olympics. She's all over the NBC page right now. She's definitely a favorite, and let's see what she can do on her home track.
5:84 is a good, strong start.
That's a very strong start.
She had 88s in both runs yesterday, so she finds extra speed at the start.
And great top that we're seeing out of here right now. She should move up if she can maintain this run the whole way down. Alana is wanting to peak right now. I know she's accompanied by her husband, Nick Taylor, who is a former bobsledder, by family with her 2 sons. She has a support system. She's trying to call it together. #1 speed right now. This is a great run for Alana.
And she's coming back to Keisha as well. When she sat down, she was 3,400s back. She's down to 2,800s back. It'll be inside 2 turns if she gets a good chicane.
3 hits through the chicane there.
Second best speed.
I think she's going to be in second coming down.
Whoa. This is her versus Laura Nolte. She's going to be ahead of Katie Bile. Is she going to catch Nolte? Nolte's 1,700s back. How close for second? Just behind, 700s back, but she's in 3rd spot.
What a race. We could have USA 1-2 here. That was a really great run for Alana. Great push, great driving. Speed just slightly behind Laura Nolte, but overall great run. I think if she can clean up that chicane and put a run together like that, she absolutely will get a medal.
Just a little drift down into the chicane. You touch one wall, it always pings you across to the other.
Yep, and you just want to minimize that. There you saw she had hit 3 different times.
Yeah.
Just scrubbing speed. But up until that point, she was great. And then this is a fun shot in 17 right here. You can see her hands especially working and moving.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do in this big track is halfway, grab that pressure, stay on the wipe, and have a nice, clean transition to 18. She's holding up 1.
See her fingers, knuckles together. Some athletes have their hands kind of knee width apart when they're steering. Some have them absolutely together like that. That's the old school way. Now then, what about Canada's Cynthia Appiah?
She was fired up yesterday with the 2nd fastest heat.
And the fastest start at 5:80. She needs another one. She needs to get into the 70s. 84. Well, that's the same as Alana. Yeah.
But she knows that she is a fast athlete. She knows that she can drive, but her strength is for sure in that push and her experience on this track.
Well, 2,900s off the lead, just 200s behind Alana Myers-Taylor after the first heat. But that gap is opening up, 36, 4,800s. Alana and Laura Nolte both started closing the margin. Now she's stopped the bleed.
Speed looks really nice, 2nd best speed coming down right now. Her lines look very nice and controlled. She looks relaxed. Little early there.
Yeah, a couple of extra hits, but she comes clean.
Nice chicane. That'll definitely help, but hitting it anywhere is always going to cost you some time. Really nice transition here.
She's not going to get to Katie Bile. She'll be about 9, 10 hundreds behind her. Oh, in fact, 100. She won it really close. Whoa.
We have a tight race, Martin. This is going to be one heck of a showdown for the top 6 for medal contingency. These ladies are putting on an absolute show.
Little applause there from Jessie Lumsden, silver medalist in the last World Championships here in the 2-man.
Let's see Cynthia's reaction here. Not as fired up as she was yesterday. I think she knows that she made a couple mistakes. If you look coming off of here, it wasn't too bad, but it pushes her nose away, which is making her come off early here and hit early before 14. You see that sled breaks away a little bit. These monos are so fluid in how they move. They just want to skid and anything because there's no weight in the back of the sled like when you have a brakeman.
One more run. Let's go.
Everyone's saying the same. One more run. One more run, ladies.
Yeah. And then they don't get to go to the beach. They've got a race next week. Keisha Love, Laura Nolte, Alana Myers-Taylor. We talked about it last night, throwing the names up in the air and see where they fall. What about the Booge? Krista Bushnovsky, fastest start in the first heat, 3rd fastest run, then only the 8th fastest run in the second heat.
5:84. The ladies are loving this number. 3 athletes so far came down, which really shows who can drive the best. If you guys are pushing the same, who can drive? And I tell you what, at the top, when you see all the snow coming, you can see the lines. You can even see the variety of the lines that people are taking, where it's putting them. So when you're asking, how can you come down with hundreds of a second? It's cutting off this track little by little.
Little late there. There's a couple of snowy patches up top. It's still very fine, so it shouldn't slow the sled down.
She was having the 3rd fastest speed. Let's see if she can get ahead of her teammate, Cynthia Appiah. They did have the exact same start time.
Yeah.
It looks like she's tidying up #1 fastest speed right now we're seeing out of Bush. That is absolutely phenomenal.
She had to make up 1400s to move ahead of Sin. Let's see what she's got.
Canada versus Canada.
4900s back. 600s off her teammate. 59.52.
600ths of a second.
Linda Rush and Justin Cripps loving this.
Wow, she should be really, really happy with that run. Her speed, looking at it right now, is almost over a whole kilometer faster than her teammate Cynthia. She is right there, 600ths of a second.
Well, only in her second season of driving, Krista Bujnovski. She's not yet even started a World Cup race.
And you can see there, those where you can see those lines. Every single athlete is taking different lines, which is going to cause them to lose speed or gain speed up at the top. And here, that critical part of the track, she had a little bit of a tap there, a little bit of a tap there. But if you can't shoot it, that's exactly the line that you want to have. Great driving, Bouge.
21 monobob races, 14 medals. I mean, really. And she's had 4 of those here in Lake Placid. Next up, Lisa Buchwitz, our World Cup champion. And Buchwitz is just sensational in a monobob sled. She does lack knowledge of this track, though.
And she did tell me that. She's like, oh, Lake Placid is hard. I said, how do you think we feel about the German tracks? But great started here. Wow. 578, 100 off Keisha. They are putting a showdown for who can push fast, which obviously that's what we see translated to the #1 push time.
She absolutely steps up every time, from being an Olympic gold medal winning brakewoman. She could well be an Olympic gold medal winning driver next year.
She is phenomenal. She is someone that you always have to watch out for. Pushes so well and is putting together the drive. Still not as much experience as the other Germans that she competes with, but hangs and beats them constantly. A little bit of high there out of 12. Overall, though, looking like a really nice run.
It's her 3rd World Championships in mono. She's had 2 bronze medals in St. Moritz and in Winterberg. Is she going to be in with a shout at the medals? She's not making an impression on the Canadians. Started 7th, still 7th on the splits. 7th place it is, 6th fastest run, but not quite enough to get there.
Just 2/10, little under 2/10 behind. But it's still possible. On Lake Placid, anything can happen. It's a long track.
Especially the way the weather is changing.
Yeah, you guys can see right now all the snow coming in. The athletes aren't making it all the way up in the outrun. That's why we have coaches, brakemen, everything helping them push those sleds up. But here, this is a very costly mistake because it constantly doesn't have her in a straight line.
Yeah. Those taps and the skid.
And she hung it up a little bit there on 12, but not too bad. And in the chicane, again, anytime you hit. But like I said, to go straight through the chicane and to do it 4 times is extremely difficult. I don't speak German.
How's sending the love back home? So, and Brianna Walker as well will be exactly the same. I know her mum and dad will be sitting back home in Australia watching this on the TV. 12th and 10th at the start, 11th and 7th at the bottom. Okay. Well, Brie was a winner here in Lake Placid in March 25. Oh, no, 24. It's now March 25. At the last World Cup race of last season.
She knows how to win on this track. I know she was pretty disappointed in her performance yesterday. Start 596, not too far off what she did yesterday. Normally she's very, very strong at the top, but she does know how to drive Lake Placid. Really good line, 2-3 there. I think we're going to see a really good run from Brie right now.
And she won the last 2 World Cup outings, both in Lillehammer, another long drivers track, the 94 Olympic venue.
An absolute stellar season, 2024-2025, a really breakout year for Brie. 8th fastest speed, though. She's just not finding it right now.
She really isn't. She's losing ground. She's lost nearly 2/10 since the start of the run to the leader, Keisha Love. 8th place overnight.
Really nice line there, Brie. Speed's coming up. 6th fastest speed right now. I think she will close the gap, but can she close it and move up a spot?
No, she's going to be a long way behind Lisa Buchwitz. Nearly double, nearly double Lisa's Yeah, 60.02.
Not going to be super thrilled with that, but overall the run did look better. You have to take something positive away from it.
Not a great day for Pierre Luders, her coach. His drive is not faring as well as he'd have hoped, and he lost his track record that dates back to 2003 in the two-man as well, a 21-year-old record.
Wow.
Yeah, well, there you go. Through the chicane,
really
you can
nice
see,
chicane.
Yeah, good chicane, and she could see as well. There wasn't so much snow blowing through, but the speed has not been there this weekend.
I'm looking at her lines. I can't really see a lot of places where she's making mistakes, honestly. She can't be upset with one or two things that she had done. To be honest, all she can do is keep her head up, try to give the best run that she possibly can, and see if she can beat her down times.
So, 9th place, Kaylee Humphries, the Olympic monobob champion.
And last time the Worlds were here, she had 1 gold. Now, it was in the two-woman event, but she knows how to win on this track.
Last time the Worlds were here, that was her only race. This time, she'll race double duty this weekend and next weekend in the women's bobsleigh. And there she will be more competitive at the start because she'll have her brake woman behind her, whoever the choice is. Kaylee recovering her fitness from having her baby during the summer.
6:02 start for Kaylee. She's going to be pretty happy with that. That's very consistent what she has been pushing. And honestly, she knows that she's not at the best right now. She had several failed IVF attempts, finally got pregnant to her son Alden, and her family are so happy, and she's still out here getting after it. Second fastest speed, can drive better almost than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah, and she knows this track so well. From her earliest days, she's been driving this track, 3rd best speed. She's moving up. She's already picked off Brianna Walker. Can she get close to Lisa Bukvitz? She won't on this run, but she might get a top 6 finish in the final heat. It's going to be a big stretch, but Kaylee Humphries always produces the goods. It's going to be close, actually, with Brianna Walker. 1.25 in the line.
Oh, she did it.
100th in front of Brianna Walker.
Oh, my goodness, what a race. So many of our contenders are less than a 10th apart, and it's just chasing that person in front of you, putting together a good run, but it's always exciting. No matter where you are, you can watch, and it's just picking up that person in front of you.
Most tracks, a few hundreds is a decent margin. Here, a couple of tenths is not even a decent margin.
That's a great line through Shady, too, right there. We see that nice high line over Lake Placid, and this is a textbook 12 to 13. Got kicked a little bit there, but overall really nice. And through chicane, pretty nice. If you can't shoot it, that's exactly the line that you want to take.
And you probably didn't notice at home, but Kaylee Humphries is one of the very few athletes who drives in goggles. She was coached by Pierre Luders, and he always raced in goggles because goggles don't steam up on you. So, Margot Bock now for France. Top 10 run and a top 10 start in the first heat. 6:01, 6:02 in the second again. Out-pushing the sort of performances we've seen from her for most of the year. She's rarely a top 10 starter. She's really bringing it to the block in these World Championships.
This is the best that we've seen from her all year. This is exactly what you want at a World Championship. 6:02 again. These ladies are consistent, which is so hard to come back day after day, being exhausted and putting down the same performance.
So same start as Kaylee Humphries. Little rougher transition out of corner 3. But she
looking good. Speed looks pretty good right now, and she can drive. She is one of the smaller athletes in the field, which does make it difficult. These monobobs are heavy.
Yeah. And if you're lighter, you weigh up the monobob to be as heavy as you can, up to the maximum weight limit for athletes and sled, because that helps you accelerate once you're moving.
Really nice line. Margot is driving flawlessly on this run.
9th best speed. So how close can she get? 1.4 back. And Brianna Walker was 1.25 at the line, so she's not going to move up.
Ducks her head there.
But a 60.02, same time as Brianna Walker.
But yes, had the 9th fastest run. Yep. So sometimes, if you can look at it heat by heat, she is improving. She should be really pleased with that run.
Yeah, I don't doubt she will be. She's had a really good world so far. Her brake woman behind trying to keep up with the track workers.
Here's a nice transition here. If we look back at her 10, she did take a different line. Right here, you can see she cuts through that Lake Placid side. Kaylee Humphries had a higher line. There's so many different ways to drive Shady. There's so many different ways. Do I want to err on cutting more ice? Do I want to be a little bit more free? What's the fastest line? And sometimes that's what these athletes have to figure out in training.
It is a bit like horseshoe. If you can get late height and drive it down clean, it really helps accelerate down the bottom half of the track. Keisha Love, the leader by 1700s from Lauren Alter, the world champion. Alana Myers-Taylor lies in third. 10 down, 11 to go in the penultimate heat of the World Championships. And next up is Andreea Grecu of Romania.
Very successful slider here. I was talking to her teammates about it. They're like, she's the mother of our team. Even though she's not very old, but she is very skilled in the sport of bobsled, can absolutely drive, and is normally a good starter. 588 there. Again, exactly what she did yesterday. Little bit of a tap there out of one.
She had a 5th place finish in the Worlds last year in Winterberg in Germany. Now that's hometown really for the Romanians. That's where they've been based for so many years. But nevertheless, this is a disappointing day one. 8th best speed, so she's a little quicker than Margot Bock, quicker than Brianna Walker.
Which is what you want to see. Dropping back in the speed a little bit. Again, you see that little bit of a different line, but comes out of shady, really nice, setting her up for the labyrinth here. Didn't come out perfectly out of that, but wasn't too bad. Didn't cost her too much.
Watch when you get the overhead shot in 17. See her hands, you can normally see them. There you go, they're knee width apart, so very different driving position.
Now, all these sleds are made the same, though.
Yeah.
And that is the difference when you're watching the mono. It's a newer discipline.
Yeah, they all use exactly the same sled, but you just customize it yourself. So 60.20. And that is going to see her drop a little further back, I think.
Yeah, 3/10 off Margot in front of her.
Yeah, she was only 700ths ahead of Switzerland's Deborah Annan, who comes up next. So that was another one of those tight little battles overnight.
You could see she steered really hard there, and oh, I didn't recognize that on the come down. She snapped her D-rings back. So if you saw it was pointed one way and then went straight to even, that's going to break the sled out in a skid. She was steering hard there. And here coming into 17, you're right. You can see this is not the setup that all the other drivers have. It really depends on what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And she is a taller athlete, which can play into that a little bit.
Well, that helps her sit further back, get the weight back over the axle, get the sled more balanced. But yeah, hands together or hands apart. It's how you learn. It's what you learned in that sort of defines what you continue to do. So Deborah Annan of Switzerland, her world championship, second world championship. She was 13th in Winterberg. She lies in 12th place here, but really close behind Andreea Grecu. She is a 2-time and defending under-23 junior world champion in women's monobob. So this young lady has plenty of potential.
She is up and coming for the Swiss program. 6 seconds even, exactly again what she did yesterday. That's what we want to see of these athletes. The experience of driving isn't really there, but she is making up for it. She's had an incredible season compared to these other athletes, and I think might give a shot for the top 10.
Yeah, 1200s off the start, slower than Andreea Grecu, but she had 2 really good runs yesterday. Let's see if she can produce another one.
3rd fastest speed. She's acting like this is her home track.
Wow. Great start from Deborah Annan. Her dad, Martin Annan, was one of the Swiss legends of the early 2000s. And her brother Tim is also a brakeman in the Swiss team. 10th best speed, so she's lost a little. 12th on the splits. How close does she get to Andreea Grecu? This is going to be very close. She's ahead of Grecu coming down into the labyrinth.
Great run for her.
Getting close to the top 10.
She did it.
She did by 200ths, and she's 3/10 behind Margot Bock.
She had a phenomenal run right there. She must be extremely pleased with that. Minimal mistakes, put a lot back together. Outdrove her start, or is right there roughly within her start. Incredible.
Well, she was 900ths behind Andreea Grecu, 1100ths quicker down the run, and so she just grabs the advantage by 200ths. Again, that's going to be a near dead heat into the final run. One run will decide it between them.
It's always fun, regardless of where you are, to see when you're less than a 10th off an athlete. You see him at that line, it's like you versus me, let's go.
Yeah.
Maybe staying in that leader's box a little bit is never a bad thing.
So Germany's Kim Kalicki, the 27-year-old in her 4th Monobob Worlds. She was 5th in St. Moritz in 2023 and won the women's bobsleigh gold that year as well.
This is our 3rd German athlete that we're seeing coming down. 5:94 start, much better than yesterday, almost by a 1/10. She'll be extremely pleased with that start, which is giving her the second fastest speed right off the jump.
She's had gold and 2 silvers in women's bobsleigh, where she has a little bit more assistance at the start, and that's what lets her down. 5:94 at the start puts her on the back foot.
She may be Germany 3 in mono, but she is not Germany 3 in 2 man.
No, there are 3 Germany 1s and 2.
Exactly.
12th best speed. 12th on the ice.
Her run looks very clean, very nice. I'm not really seeing any mistakes really massive out of her. Great, awesome chicane. The speed just isn't there right now for her, but has the potential to move up a spot.
Yeah, she's starting a 10th slower than Alana. She's starting a 10th slower than Lara Nolter. 1,700 slower than leader Keisha Love. And you multiply that start deficit by 4 runs. There's a brakewoman, Leonie Fiebig. She'll be in the back of the 2-man sled next weekend.
Jumped up 2 spots there for Kim Kalicki. That puts her in 11th.
The line, yeah. So we've got 600s ahead of Deborah Annan, 800s ahead of Andrea Grecu for Kim Kalicki. It is a very tight battle.
And less than 3/10 out of the top 10, which is possible here. This was a great run for Kim. I think her best one that she's had so far. Can she do it again, and how can that move her up or down? Very nice chicane here. Runner tips are forward. Oh, but a little bit of a bounce there. You see that coming up. Some people do say Lake Placid tends to be a little bumpy. We've seen a lot of sleds come down. You can see Kim compared to everyone. You can't even see her hands really in 17.
But again, her hands knee width apart. And that, you know, if your hands are on your knees, it gives you a little bit of stability, stops your hands bouncing and maybe overdriving. So again, it is all personal preference. You adapt the sled to suit your size, your weight, and how you want it to handle. Melissa Lottholz now for Canada, 14th place off an 8th and a 9th best start, 2 13th place runs.
Let's see what she can start with here. 5:90, faster than yesterday, so she'll definitely be pleased with that. Melissa was one of those athletes that was a brakeman, so every time I watch her push, it's phenomenal.
2-time Olympian as a brakewoman, 4-time World Championship competitor as a brakewoman. She finished, her best World Championships was Altenburg 2021. She finished in 7th place in the mono. She then took a couple of years off after Beijing and came back to regrade herself last season in North America's Cup racing.
Beat me more times than I can tell you. Phenomenal driver, great athlete, loves the sport, kind to everybody, and is driving pretty well on this track. A little bit of a skid there, but minimize the damage.
13th best speed, 12th fastest start, but she slipped back down to 14th on the splits. Does she get Grecu or Annan at the line?
It's going to be close.
14th on the splits, 13th fastest run. She doesn't quite get there.
0.14 of a second.
Yeah, behind Andrea Grecu. So again, one little flinch from anybody in front and positions will come her way.
That is one hit in the chicane, one slip up between 2 to 4 in this track, which can happen. As we see here, Melissa's lines coming out of 2. We see that little bit of a skid. As a pilot, she's trying to minimize that as much as possible, but coming out of the chicane looks pretty nice here until she has this little bit of a sideways motion, very similar to what we just saw on both times. That is going to cut your speed. That is like a hockey stop, unfortunately, and as a pilot, you just got to try to minimize that.
See how far forward she sits. That's exactly where you'd be in a 2-seat bob with the brake woman behind you, but it means that it's very nose heavy and prone to breaking into a skid.
As a pilot, the reason why you might be a little bit in the back is because you want to have more weight in the back to try to give a little bit more stability.
Legendary Bruce Tasker, Olympic medalist brakeman for Great Britain. He's here coaching with Graham Richardson and Sean Olsen for Adele Nicole. And Adele in a rented sled, she was saying to me today, with a bent axle. So it is not flying the way that her home sled does.
6:05 start. That's what people don't realize when you come here. You pay all this money, but you can't always ship your equipment. It's very expensive for these nations.
Yeah. tens of thousands to get a sled over here, so much cheaper to rent one. It's the same equipment, but it may not be as well maintained as your own, and to try and straighten an axle is not an easy task.
Not what any mechanic looks to do, but Adele is the only athlete representing GB in the women's field. The men did take a top 6 in the 2-man, which is awesome. They have a really great program, and Adele is building it back up for the women.
Took silver in the women's bobsleigh here last year in the World Cup race. It's her second World Championship. She finished 9th in Winterberg. She was definitely targeting a top 6. Bad back, injured foot or not. The sled just will not hold the speed.
Ducks her head there.
60.76.
Just a little bit too much of a gap, but honestly, Adele sitting in 15th with all those injuries and all she's been through. She's competing in Worlds, and she's absolutely getting after it.
And her regular 2-seat sled is here, so she will have her Welsh Dragon in the second heat. It was crashed yesterday by Adam Baird in the men's race, but it should be okay to go.
Look at that athlete. That is one heck of an athlete. We said yesterday, but shot put, she does it all. She's an absolute beast and a boss of a lady. I absolutely adore her, and she's one of the strongest athletes in this field.
Well, not having the speed aboard, and she doesn't have that top 6 start that she would have had before injury. So again, you can see hands apart. It's quite easy to see if you see
What can I do?
She says, what more can I do?
Yeah.
You can do one more run and have fun doing it.
Exactly. Smile through the pain. There we go. 15 down, 6 to go. And of the remaining 6, 1 will have to watch the final heat from the sidelines. That's going to be really tough on all of them. Kim Uran for Korea, the 32-year-old, a 2018 Olympian for her country on her home games. She's had 5 races here in Monobob and 4 medals from those 5.
6:15 start, much better than yesterday. She'll be very pleased with that. She knows this track, and she knows it well. She spent a lot of time here during the NAC the past couple of years, and now is making her way up into the World Championships. 10th fastest speed, is driving pretty well.
Only one previous Worlds in Monobob, that was Altenburg 2021. She finished in 14th place, so she's just a couple spots shy of that.
She had a little bit of a hit outside of 10 there. That's definitely going to cost her some time. She was pretty good in speed. What's the speed looking now? 13th. That definitely hurt her.
She's only 11 hundredths behind Adele Nicker of Great Britain after 2 heats. So it's going to be close. Adele, 3.35 back at the line. I think she's going to pick her off. She does.
She does. Wow. 22 hundredths of a second. She just moved ahead of Adele.
There you go, moving up time. So a third of a second better run.
Well, Kim will be pleased with that, especially when it's close. Anytime you're right there off of somebody. She had that little bit of a skid there coming out of 2. And here's the mistake. Out of 10, you're going to see her hit right there, moves her bunks over. That's a good place to come out with speed. You're coming out of a big, long, shady, and if you hit there, you just crushed everything you just built. Transition here, 18 into 19. You see her head give a little rattle back and forth. Never feels good. But 2 thumbs up, 2 peace signs. Maybe a little bit of bunny rabbit there, I don't know. She seems pleased.
I often wonder whether when you're driving, you're so focused you even notice your head whipping around. The brain tends to stabilize everything.
From experience, you feel it after.
Patricia Tanjarova now for Czech Republic. 16th fastest in both her starts, 17th and 16th runs yesterday to be 17th overnight. And she is just under half a second behind Kim Uran. So her attention will be to try and move up the order and also stay away from Taipei's Lin Sing Rong, who comes up next.
Between her 2 heats yesterday, there was almost a second of a difference. 6:08 start time for her. That's right in the ballpark of where she was yesterday. 16th fastest speed, but let's see if she can get up. Don't love that there.
And the long drift with the snow on the track, that's even more of a braking effect than if it was just polished ice. So skids in snow really hurt. When the snow's very thin, it melts really instantly under the runners, so you don't get slowed down.
It's that friction.
Yeah, when you go sideways, it sure does. Again, Patricia trying to sit right back, leaning right back in the sled. Popped up.
Let's see how her chicane looks. Very nice through the chicane. Okay, that's what we want to see. Through 17. Nice on to 18. Good transition there. The bottom of the track looks pretty good for her. She just needs to tidy up that top to see any difference in her speed.
And you see how far back she sits compared to Melissa Lottholz, who's got her chin nearly on the cowl. 60.93 run, so she loses half a second on that run to Kim Uran, who was just in front of her. And that how close then to Adele Nicol. Right, so she's got 75 hundredths to make up to try and overhaul Nicol. But that will see her into the final run.
So here we go out of 2. She has some late height there, which is pushing her into that skid, which causes her to tap. And then here out of 7 comes out early, and you can see she misses the whole entrance initially on the 8, trying to help it up there, which is keeping her high off the exit of 8 and breaking her back to go first into 9. It doesn't feel good when you do it either. And then there at a 10, she gets on really early on 11th, which pushes her down. She did a good job recovering off of that.
She's having a fun time. Patricia, one of our younger sliders, just 22. We got a couple of younger than that coming up. 26-year-old former luger Lin Sin Rong. 6 monobob races in her IBSF career. 6. 2 of them have been on this track.
Incredible. She does not have a lot of experience, but is doing quite well with what she has. 6:19 getaway. Pretty good for her, pretty consistent with yesterday. She's one of the small nations that participated in the North American Cup. All the nations came together, though, Martin, helped each other, and it was incredible.
Worth pointing out, of course, that luge, you start off sitting down, unlike skeleton. You sit on the sled and you rock backwards and forwards using your hands like a rowing motion. So speed in the legs is not a big thing in luge.
It is not, and you're using your fingertips with these gloves, spiked gloves, to almost like crawl your way down.
Along, exactly. So, 18th at the start. And 18th on the splits at the moment. It was quite a big gap ahead of her to Patricia Tanurova.
But 16th best speed, that's what you want to see. Good transition here.
Picking up speed down the run. And this is going to cement her into the second heat. Yes, it does. 61.14, that's enough. That'll see her in. Because there's a couple of bigger gaps behind. She was 25 hundredths ahead of the next driver, Liana Garcia of Spain. And then the final 2 sleds, 20th and 21st, are a whopping 3 hundredths apart. It is going to be sudden death. And now, let's put our thoughts towards a tie for 20th, so they both get in.
Let's put that out there. I would love that for both of those athletes.
I would love it too. It would be the freakiest of occurrences, but it does happen.
It has happened, and it can.
Yeah. Probably once a year we get 21 sleds in our top 20.
Well, Sinrong must be pretty happy overall. She's just trying to get down the track to learn it and to be excited to be here. I was talking to her and she has a massive smile on her face. She's like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm representing my country and small nations, and I love doing the sport.
So too, Spain's Liana Garcia, the 29-year-old who started for Canada originally. 10 races in the NAC and Europa Cup, including a bronze medal in Sigulda. So we know she can drive a busy track.
6:22 start, 400s faster than what she did yesterday. That's what we want to see out of these ladies. Great 1-2, Liana. That looked awesome.
Now, although she has raced in North America's Cup, none of those races were here in Lake Placid.
Correct.
She has not raced on this track before yesterday.
You can't tell from this run.
No. Nice looking run.
A little bit of a skid coming out there, but overall, like, putting down a nice run. These are lines that we try to come and look at. Oh, you can see she had to steer pretty hard out of 12, but back on track.
All right, and she's got about 6/10 in the bank over the 2 sleds behind her. So if she gets this down in one piece without an absolute catastrophe, then she makes the final run as well in her first ever Worlds on a track she has never raced on before.
Making history for Spain, and that run was the 17th fastest run on coming down.
And she picked off Taipei's Lin Sin Rong as well. That was a really nice run. She's 600ths ahead of the slider from Taipei. So she started 19th. She ends the heat in no worse than 18th.
Here's that little bit mistake that cost her, but good recognition by her to pull on that rope to get her back.
3100s faster than Lynn on that run. So she overturns a 2500ths of a second deficit.
Great driving, Leanna. History being made for Spain as she's driving down. She has to be pleased with that. Again, like everyone says, ladies, one more run, put it together, give it everything you have.
What do we get to say? We get to say one of the few words in Spanish that she really knows. Vamos! All right,
I was going to say, vamos la playa.
2 to go. Adana Johnson, the 17-year-old representing Jamaica on her debut, won North America's Cup race, one youth tryout race here on this track in her total of 8 monobob races.
And this is a race like any other. 300ths of a second between her and Agnes behind her. We'll see what comes up. A whole tenth of a fast.
Whoa!
Wow, what a great start, Adana. That's what we love to see.
Well, she's clearly been inspired by the Jamaican two-man crew who made it through into the final heat today. 13th best speed. Hello, Adana Johnson.
This is awesome. This is what you want to see for these athletes. Hopefully have a little bit more confidence under her belt day 2 after yesterday. Can push faster at the start and have some confidence in driving these lines. She's been here. She knows what it's going to look like, and she can just put it all together.
I'm sure at 17 the nerves must have been absolutely phenomenal yesterday. 16th best speed.
She's crushing it right now. This is awesome to watch. She's going to be really, really happy with this result.
Well,
Coming down
6/10 behind Lin Sin Rong of Chinese Taipei. I don't think she gets there. She doesn't, but she has laid down a smoking run.
Amazing speed, though. Her speed was faster than 5 of the sliders that are ahead of her in that run. Absolutely incredible.
And in fact, that run, she tied exactly with the athlete from Chinese Taipei. 61.14 for both of them.
Wow.
That's a great third run from Adana Johnson. And if that doesn't get her a final heat, then there is no justice.
Okay, but we need Agnes to tie her. So that is our goal.
We do.
Agnes coming all the way from Thailand. She said none of her family is here, but they are watching back in Thailand. So hi to all of her family.
Where
Let's
it's
cheer her
already
on.
next week, probably.
Really great to see these athletes from these smaller nations, especially the youth coming in and being able to compete.
Look at the smile on her face as well.
And a little bit of relief.
Yeah. All right. Agnesa Campeol from Thailand. Agnesa, another of our World Cup rookies and another youth, 18 years old. Youth Olympic silver medalist, a former roller skier. She has done a total of 10 monobob races in her life. She needs a 61.11 to tie Adana Johnson, and then they both go through. Come on, let's put our hands together and hope. 6:43.
Better than yesterday.
Yeah, and just a whisker behind Adana's 6:38, so only 500s in it.
Really great 1 to 2 to 3 transition we're seeing here out of Agnes. Wow, that looks really great. That's definitely going to help her with her speed down this track. 18th fastest speed right now. That's what you want. Can you outdrive your start?
Adana Johnson was just a whisker quicker. She needs to be really clean. She needs a good highway, a great chicane, 19th best speed.
And as we've seen, her and Adana have very similar experiences on this track, and it is not much.
No, very little at all. Nice chicane, just the tiniest of touches.
Speed.
Oh, come on, make it a dead heat. Make it a dead heat.
It's going to be close.
They both deserve to be in. 584 behind. She needs to fight 400s to the line to tie. And just doesn't get there.
But incredible run for her. That is going to be the last run that she has on this track in a monobob. But man, it was her best one.
Yeah.
Agnes is one of my favorite athletes to compete against. She has a smile on her face. She comes up, she wants to hug you and embrace you, and she's so happy to be here. Kaylee Humphreys is her mentor, and I think she's learned a lot from her, but she's learning a lot about the sport, representing the nation of Thailand. Where do you bobsled in Thailand?
Well, the answer is North America. And hopefully Europe, and hopefully we will see her starting to develop her career. Youth Olympian to World Championships. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, good job. Gibsoning loved her family back home. So proud to be here. But it's Keisha Love that is still leading after 3 heats today. Can she hold on for one more?
And the leader is almost as inexperienced as the athletes we've just seen at the bottom of the top 20. And genuinely, yes, she's done lots of races, but when your head's between your knees, not looking where you're going, that doesn't count.
Compared to the rest of the field, absolutely.
2 years of driving since the games in Beijing, and she is at the top of the pile. Sometimes you find the diamond. They found one in Keisha Love. She leads the 2-time world champion by 1700s, 2-time silver medalist and Olympic silver medalist in 2400s pack. Catty Bile, can she grab a medal? She's going to have to claw her way past Alana Myers-Taylor and Lauren Alter, maybe. It's not going to be easy. Adana Johnson makes the field, and Agnese Campeol from Thailand will be watching the final run of the women's monobob competition along with the rest of us. So join Riley Tchak, me, Martin Haven, 17:30 local. That is 21:30 GMT. I'm afraid I don't know what that is on Bangkok time, but it is in 1 hour and 10 minutes from now. Meanwhile, Riley, you've got to get back up and to have another run in the Forerunner, so get on with it. We'll see you in 1 hour and 10 for the decider of the World Championships for the women's monobob.
One more heat. Let's go, ladies.
It is open. Go check it out.
So the top 20 sleds will go the slowest one first, and then we'll finish off with our final slider that will be USA's Keisha Love. And then at 6:45 tonight we have 2 Männer-Zweierbob World Champions being crowned, Francisco Friedrich and his 2 German brothers who came 1, 2, 3. And then we'll go with the ladies mono World Champions crowned again, 6:45 down in Mendels Plaza. Stick around, lots of stuff to do. Stuart going to pass it back up to the booth. You guys have done a fantastic job announcing all day. 1 more heat to go. Back to the booth.
Thanks, Stuart. It's always good to hear your voice and an update. When you've been busy, I know you've been busy, whether you're at the top of the track or you're down through the heart or now down to Legacy Lodge. So, helping us out. I mean, the thing I like about Stu is the little Stu bits. Just bits and trinkets of information. So, as we talked about earlier, now they're going to prepare the track. Now they're going to clean it. They've used leaf blowers, brooms, shovels. Create a fair field to play. Reverse order by rank. So your leaders, as Stu was mentioning, will be the final sleds to win the coveted World Championships. I like it.
Lake Placid, March 3rd to 16th, 2025. The first World Bobsled Championships were held in 1930 in Switzerland and have been held every year since, except during World War II. One thing that has been common to each event is an artistic poster promoting the region where the races were held. At the Lake Placid World Championships, organizers will stage a contest to vote on the best sliding sports poster ever. Most of these posters will come from the legacy tracks like St. Moritz, which has hosted the World Championships 18 times, the most ever. Then you get the Lake Placid for Italy, which have both hosted this prestigious event 9 times. And then Germany, as a country, has hosted the most World Championships with the tracks in Cologne, Hoevenberg, Altenburg, and Farmers, hosting over 32 World Championship events. There have been many magazine covers like Boys Life in 1938, illustrating bobsleigh. But how about the bunnies of St. Moritz? Some wild designs spanning over a century have been created. Who are the artists behind these sports art masterpieces? This year's Lake Placid poster is created by Aaron Hobson, who has been creating sliding sports art for the Olympic Authority for 30 years.
Whether it's a superstar on the field or the technological innovations of sporting equipment, or just the new design of a jersey or logo of your favorite team, creativity in sport are inseparable. And I've had the luxury of 25 years of sharing my passion for art and sport with the world.
Beyond the contest for the best ever sliding sports art, an additional program will include student sliding art will also be implemented by encouraging students from around the planet to submit their design. Both will take place in person or on that. So for more information on the art contest, schedule, or ticketing, go to Lake Placid World Championships.com.
A little more. Got it set up as well.
How many skits have you played this weekend? This will be our 11th. And is this going to be your finest? We try to do the best we can with every set we do, but this will be one of them. This will be the best one, the best and the last one today. I'm going to get off the stage so you can start playing for these beautiful people here. Thank you very much, Jim. Do you want to shout out to your band members?
Sure, we got Gabe on guitar and bass, we got Tim Hayden back there at the great drums, and Frank Nelson here on guitar, and of course on Fritz.
Fritz from Verona, New York. Let's go over to Fritz's polka band.